Hello and welcome to Scale to Seven Figures and our $1 Million Fireside Chat. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor, Virtual CFO with Anavo Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And I am excited you are joining me. Scale to Seven Figures is an interactive group of small business owners in the business to corporate, and business to government markets who are ready to scale their businesses to the next level. Our group is an opportunity to share, learn, and grow together without competition. Each week, I bring tips, tactics, and strategies through our $1 Million Masterclasses and our $1 Million Fireside Chats. If you are not familiar with us, head on over to www.scaletosevenfigures.com and check us out. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy our next powerful conversation. Well, good afternoon and happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Scale to Seven Figures and our $1 Million Fireside Chat. I am always very excited that you are joining me today and watching from wherever you are. As you know, if you have tuned into us and you've been watching us, you know that we stream in 5 different locations. We're in 3 different areas on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and we're also on YouTube. And so I'm excited that you are listening from wherever you are. Please make certain to drop a comment in the chat boxes so that we can follow up with you. We'd love to get your questions or just any input or feedback as it relates to our program. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor and Virtual CFO with Anavo Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And our theme for the month of November is building equity and increasing your chances of making meaningful investments in your business that help you strengthen your legacy, which is extremely important. Last week, I spoke with Leonardo McClarty with the Howard County Chamber of Commerce, and we talked about ways to leverage your membership with your local Chamber of Commerce as a way to increase exposure, build relationships, and to find your seat at the table. If you missed it, head on over to Anavo TS, that's ANAVOTS.com /masterclass-replay, and watch that conversation on demand. Today, I am actually speaking with Lisa Nicholls. She is the owner and founder of Tira Strategies, and she's also the president of the Greater DC chapter of the National Association of Women Business Owners, which is a specialized membership group that's designed to foster economic, professional, and business growth for women business owners. And today we are going to discuss the benefits of joining specialized associations and organizations as a means to leverage those programs to help advance, accelerate, and grow your business. So let's welcome Lisa Nicholls to the show. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So excited to be here. This is great.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. Me too. So yes.
So before we begin, tell us a little bit about who you are. Tell us about Tira Strategies and who you work with.
Sure. So yes, thank you, Lisa, for the opportunity. And again, so excited to be here. So Tira Strategies is a social media marketing company. We do social media management and marketing for small to medium businesses. So we really help businesses bring in ideal clients through the use of social media. That's my solution to the question, why do I not have more business? And I've been in business 10 years. 10 years ago, nobody was doing social media. So it's just so funny to think that 10 years makes me, one of the longer term people in this. And so that's what I do. I have a great time doing it. And I just adore my clients and really enjoy the ins and outs of social media because it's changed so much in 10 years. 10 years ago, Snapchat and Instagram were not around. So that's how long ago it was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been in business for 23 years.
Yeah.
I think at the start of my business, the whole internet was fairly new.
Yeah, right. I know. Could you? I used to type on what is it? Had one of those typewriters that was like a correcting typewriter. That it was just, oh my gosh, crazy, the stuff we grew up with as you kind of go advance in your years.
My kids won't believe it. They won't even believe the type of cell phone I had when I first started,
Right.
talking on cell phones that I only used in emergency.
Do you remember when texting you had to push the letter, like is that whatever the number is many times? Is that like when the ABC to push to get to C, you had to hit the number 1 3 times or something when you were texting, the early days of
Yes.
texting? So yeah, I'm that old. So yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, technology, is the driving force, right? It changes us, it changes the way we do business. And although this is not what we plan to talk about today, I think is relevant to our conversation. But how you've been in business for 10 years, you've seen the differences and transitions and transformation to where we are now as it relates to social media marketing. What do you see as changes right now, considering the pandemic that we've experienced this year, and then what we can anticipate moving forward? And again, this is
Yeah.
unprepared conversation.
No, that's okay. You know, so it's so funny because when we started with the pandemic, everybody was jumping on Zoom, and I think people are zoomed out now. So really, the the Zoom space is getting as crowded as the in-person networking space was. So I think companies and organizations are having to figure out what's the next step. And in terms of social media, more people are online. So in a crowded space, how do you stand out? And I always come back to authenticity and consistency being the two big things that people need to practice. And that really hasn't changed much at all. But I think just people are struggling with how to stand out, how to get the attention of their customer and what they can do. And it's all about relationship building. Like it always comes back to building those relationships with your clients and customers and ideal customers to make them trust you enough to buy from you. So I just, I wish I had a crystal ball to say these are things, how things are going to change. I will say that it's important, no matter what platform you're on, to be sure that you own the people that you're connected with. So getting them onto some kind of email system where you actually own those email addresses. Because if Facebook went away, how many of the people that you connect with on Facebook would still be able to access your business page? And the answer is zero. But if you have them on email, then you do have some way to keep in touch with them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the areas that I wasn't intentional about growing a list more so than I was about getting a message out and just being, like you said, consistent in the marketplace. So I think I've always done something with email, whether it's a newsletter or, just a way to connect with people. But I started to recognize the value of really building a list and being intentional about that. Actually, when I started to do more of the social media marketing.
Yeah.
I never want to. In fact, today I was having a social media conversation with a business owner about, placing all your eggs in one basket, and, how we do certain things in the name of convenience, but then we recognize somewhere down the road that we set up ourselves up for what could be an epic failure if we don't, really consider the ramifications of that. So
Very true. Yes, I agree.
yeah. Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about the National Association of Women Business Owners, and what that is. So the purpose of today's conversation really is stemmed around building and leveraging relationships through organizations, memberships, networking organizations. And today, really want to talk about the importance of affiliating with specialized organizations, those that are focused on a very specific group of businesses. So if you could share with us a little bit about who is NABO and what you guys do, what it stands for.
Sure. So the National Association of Women Business Owners, I don't know if people know the history, and I may get some of it wrong, but HR 5050, the bill that allowed women to get a business loan on their own without a male co-signer, is not that old. It actually passed in the 90s. And so the founders of NABO were instrumental in getting that passed. And from what I understand of the history, they gathered together, found that women couldn't get a business loan on their own, decided to go after, really make that happen, were instrumental in getting that bill passed, and then kind of kept on going with the organization. So NAWBO has a very strong advocacy arm, which we continue to do, and it's one of the reasons I love it. But NAWBO really, we are a nationwide organization with local chapters, and we work to propel women entrepreneurs into economic, social, and political spheres of power worldwide. And we do that through creating innovative and effective change in business culture, building strategic alliances, and transforming public policy. So the people join a local chapter, and then we are part of the nationwide organization, which has so many benefits and so many great perks to being part of it. So in a nutshell, that's NAWBO. Each chapter runs independently, but we've got the nationwide organization behind us, which is fantastic, and it allows so many opportunities to connect with women on broader and deeper levels.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it catered towards a specific size company, specific regions? Tell me a little bit about, the ideal member that joins NAWBO.
Yeah, we I don't think it's a specific size organization. We have some businesses who are just kind of starting up and new. I would say that most of our members have been in business a few years, so it's not just the new entrepreneurs, but people who have some seasoning and knowledge behind them. But we've also got a NAWBO circle where your company has to make over $1 million in order to be in that. And we have many members in that. So I think the beauty of it is that our members run the gamut from newer businesses to businesses who are established and bring a lot of money. So there's always people that you can look to for advice, no matter what stage of business you're at. So NAWBO, I believe that our ideal members are women business owners who want to go beyond basic networking and invest in themselves and their business. And I've always said that I believe the quality of our members is extraordinary. And that's one of the things that I love most about NAWBO is that the women I meet are just rock stars at what they do on so many levels and so willing to help each other out.
Yeah.
So we have something for opportunities to learn for just about anybody, no matter what stage you're at.
So when should women in business in particular, because we're talking about NAWBO, when should one consider becoming a member?
Now. Right now. It's so funny because it's so hard. I hear from people it's hard to network these days because, the in-person networking is gone. NAWBO has programming year round. And we do, when COVID hit, we immediately switched to Zoom as everybody did. And what it's allowed us to do is to have more programming that's relevant. So now we can take speakers from across the country and rely on the wealth of the NAWBO members who are in other areas of the country and have them come and talk to our membership on our monthly lunch and learns. And we can network with people across the world. We've actually had on our monthly networking events, which are speed networking, NAWBO and Chill, we've had women from, I think, Scotland and France on our calls, which are surprising to us, but it's been interesting. So I think any time to join NAWBO is a great time. We hold semi-annual membership drives in the fall and the spring, but don't wait. Just if you're looking for an organization that provides you more than the basic networking and provides you, and it sounds such like I don't want to use a corny word, but it sounds like we have a sisterhood of support. I truly feel that about the other NAWBO members. So I feel like we support each other and help each other grow. And so anytime is a good time to join NAWBO. Don't wait. We've had members coming in throughout COVID times just because they felt that, it was a good time. We've actually had one member, she's on our advocacy committee, but she joined and then she got asked to speak on a nationwide level to on one of our national lunch and learns. So within a few months of joining, that was available to her because her topic was relevant and timely. So don't think that because we're not networking in person that this is a bad time. It's a great time to expand what you're doing and to tap into NAWBO's expertise and all of the events we have.
Yeah. So, Lisa, you mentioned a few things throughout our conversation so far. One is, how do you stand out in a crowded market? And then, being consistent and why it's important to network and all those things. Can you talk a little bit about how one can really leverage or utilize a membership such as NAWBO but even get comfortable with, putting the company, their business out front, and really stepping into creating the exposure that they need in a crowded marketplace?
Yeah, and it's a really good question. I always say about joining something that you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're just going to join an organization and kind of be present and not really do a lot, and then a few months later say, wow, it didn't really work for me, it's because you didn't really immerse yourself in it. And I am one of those people, I won't join something unless I know I can have the time to it, because I go all in. I don't just kind of join and dip my toes. I'm like, yeah, I'm in, that's it. As you can see, being president of the Greater DC chapter. So I really feel that if you're going to join something, make sure that you access everything you can with that organization. Come to the events, come to the networking events, get to know people, follow up with them for coffee chats, do virtual coffees, join a committee. At NABO, we make it so easy in the Greater DC chapter to go beyond that. We have 5 committees. We encourage women who join to get on a committee because it's a great way to get involved and you get more visible. We always give shout outs to our committee members. And just do things on a nationwide level. Take advantage of the national lunch and learns. Put your name in for a speaker if you have an area of expertise. We actually have a spreadsheet that all of the women who want to be speakers, and Molly Gimmel, who was a former president of our chapter, created it at nationwide level. Anyone who wants to speak can put their name in and their topic, and people from across NABO chapters can look at it and say, I want this person. I'm actually speaking to the Spokane chapter next week because they saw my name and thought it would be a good topic. And we've had so many speakers from across the nation that we haven't been able to. So again, don't just be there and kind of go and maybe do one networking event and then join, be involved, get visible in front of everybody, go beyond your comfort zone, offer to speak, offer to lead a meeting, be a sponsor. There's sponsorship opportunities that aren't that expensive. Our sponsors for our lunch and learns are really inexpensive, and you get 2 minutes in front of the group to talk about what you do. So look at the opportunities and then decide what you want to be involved in and then go and do it. Don't just be passive. You can't join a group and barely work at it and then say, well, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for you because you weren't working at it. You need to work at it. It's just, passivity is not the way to go.
Absolutely.
Did that answer that? Or was that
Oh
like
my
way
gosh,
around?
yes, and you're absolutely right.
Very passionate about that.
Well, I remember early on in business, and I mentor many small businesses, and one of the things that we work on pretty heavily is establishing your strategic alliances and affiliations, because it's very, very important. But the kickback, the pushback, I should say, is always, I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. But what I learned early in business is, I said that too. I don't have time. Mm-hmm. But when I started to go back and take a look at how I built my clientele, how I built referrals, how I was able to scale my business. Most of the business that we acquired, greater than 90%, has been through referrals. And those referrals have come from our strategic partners, our affiliations with organizations and associations, and our clients. Mm-hmm. And so, I learned that it was important. And so I learned how to get involved. I learned how to find the right organizations. So I think that you definitely are a really good case study and example of how this works, because you can't be a chapter president unless you're involved, right? Unless you've been engaged and involved in the organization for some time. So do you mind sharing your journey of how when you started as a member of NABO, and how you got to the point of being the president of a local chapter, and what benefits you got out of that?
Sure, I would love to. And you were so right about that time piece of it too. If you look back at where you get your referrals and it's networking and you don't network, you don't see it right away, but you see it 3 to 6 months later, and all of a sudden you're looking and thinking, well, I don't have any referrals. Why not? It's because you stopped putting that time in. So I definitely, great point. So my NABO journey, and this is so funny. Diane Holland, who just retired from a banking job, has been a friend of mine for years. And she kept inviting me to this thing called this NAWBO breakfast. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I finally went, and it was this huge breakfast with all these amazing women. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. And Diane said, well, you have to join. And I said, I can't right now. I was actually probably at that time on the board of the Reston Chamber of Commerce, which was a 6-year stint for me, and I just didn't have the time. And so Diane invited me to several things along the way. And finally, I decided that I could join this organization, put into it what I wanted to. So I decided, and I went to a couple of lunches, and oh my gosh, the warmth and positivity that I felt at those lunches, I was like, oh, these are my women. They're amazing. They made me feel so welcome and happy to be there. And I thought, I've got to join. These people are great. Yeah. So a couple of years after the breakfast, I decided to join. And I was kind of watching what NAWBO was doing, and their social media was a disaster. And I finally, probably about a year in, said, look, you guys, you need help. I can do this. I'll run your social media. And they said, great, you can be on our board. And I said, nope, sure can't do that. I'm still on the board of the Reston Chamber of Commerce. I don't have the time, but I will run it. Finally, when I was done with being on the Reston Chamber, I talked to the board members and said, okay, I can be on the board. I can do your marketing, run your social media. I'm happy to do this for you. And so at that point, that was 2 years ago, I became a board member 2.5 years ago. And they'd asked me to, I guess, me just jumping into everything kind of pays off. So I finally got on the board and did some of the marketing tasks. And then we were talking to just the members, and we had, talking about the succession plan. And I was just watching what the presidents were doing throughout my term as both a board member and as a member. And I thought, I love this board. I love the people on it, and I love what they're doing. And so we were talking about a succession plan. And a year and a half ago, I had been looking at my business and knew I was going to be entering a period of growth. So I said, I can't become the chapter president in 2019. That won't work for me. I know I have too much going on. My life is a lot in turmoil. But I said, I will tell you what, in 2020, in June of 2020, when we switch over, I can take that on. So we had a succession plan. We had somebody step into that role for 2019 to 2020. And then COVID hit, and I became the president in the middle of COVID. So it's just been a really interesting journey. But, I was, a member of NAWBO, on a committee, on the board, and then a board member. And I liked doing it that way, because I feel like it gave me a really good sense of what NAWBO was about, how they operate. So I wasn't jumping into something not knowing what I was doing. I felt like it was a very good way for me to learn the organization, learn what we're about, learn all the values. In the interim, I had gone to the national conference that we held. I went to a leadership training. So I really took advantage of the learning more about NAWBO to see what it was all about. And with all of that, I was just hooked into it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be ending my term in 2021 or going for another year. There's been talk about maybe doing it for 2 years. But I also said, gosh, I'd love to be a NAWBO president when it's not times of COVID. So that would be kind of fun for me to go to a national conference that's not on Zoom. So we'll see what happens.
No, that's right. This past year you had to do it was virtual.
They did a great job. The meeting space was amazing, but I was like, oh, I want to be a chapter president at a conference and be in person. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yes.
But it's been an interesting time, and it's been a challenge because our networking events are what bring in our revenue, and so how do we handle all of that? So it's been eye-opening, but we're holding our own, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you seen what types of changes or shifts other than going virtual have you seen in the participation, the membership engagement of the organization? And then, what would you recommend? What's your call to action for those who are listening right now?
So aside from the Zoom, I think that when this started, we were able to do more events, and we were trying to do one a week and realized that was just too much for us. But in addition to our lunch and learn, we've added a networking event online, and we've always said that we wanted to do in-person events and lunch and learn and then something else fun, but we just never had the manpower. So the networking events are actually a blast. They're my favorite events: speed networking, NAWBO, and chill. So I love that we've been able to add more events because they're online and serve our membership more. So people who want to learn can do that, and people who want to network in a more informal setting can do that. I will say that, we've seen, I think our participation was up higher at the beginning and it's dropped off. And I think people are kind of zoomed out. So in this more crowded place, how do you stand out? And do you do it, how do you get more people to attend? What does that look like? And we're still trying to find answers to that. So I don't know that we have all of the answers, but we're definitely trying to stay on top of it. And we're having a holiday party, but it's going to be virtual. So what does that look like? So, it's really made a difference. We also, in a little behind the scenes stuff, like we've had to rework our budget. And what does that look like? How are we able to keep afloat? And some chapters are struggling with that because they do make money from in-person events. We, as our chapter, we've been holding our own, and I've been really proud of how we've been able to do that. So it's been an education for me in seeing how a nonprofit organization or, an organization that's, basically nonprofit, how we can make things work in a time when all of our regular venues are not available to us. I don't know if that answered what changes you've seen. I do think it's, kind of taking a step back, tightening your budget, and then just figuring out how to get people's attention. And, we've added members too. So it shows me that there's a need for what we offer and that people aren't hesitating to join because they see value. So if you provide value, I think that that's going to show through no matter what's happening. And so we always work to provide the most value we can in what we do.
Absolutely.
Did that answer that question?
No, it did.
It somewhere in the middle.
It did, absolutely. But I think, the other piece of it is just kind of, even though we are zoomed out, that is, we're about to go back into another, I'm not calling it a black hole. I just won't call it that. But we're stepping back into, we're retreating again. Let's just call it that. Mm-hmm. And we have to find a way to develop community, to strengthen community, and to stay connected. And so it's through these organizations that we get to do that and build camaraderie too. I think being able to operate as a business owner and know that the things that you're experiencing, you're not experiencing alone. And you do that through connecting with organizations like NABO, the Chamber of Commerce, you mentioned before. So, yeah.
Yeah, we want to do an initiative. We couldn't get it together for right before the holidays, but we want to now reach out on more than just a broader basis, and we want to start doing virtual coffee chats. So we're going to start with the board. We're each going to reach out to somebody, have a coffee chat, and encourage them to reach out to another member, because we feel like people aren't connecting that well, and we want to make that easier. So we think that by doing this and kind of posting in our group, that people will be encouraged to reach out to each other and get to know each other on a deeper level. So yeah, really, however you can foster and encourage those connections, I think does this all, it makes it better for all of us. So it's just, how do you do that? What does that look like for people? How willing are they to take on that extra time and do it? And I think those people that are saying, wow, I need more networking, or my business is dropping off because I haven't been networking enough, what the solution is, find an organization that you're comfortable with that does a good job at networking, and go with that. And I love that our networking events, and even the networking we do with our lunch and learns, it's not just 30-second elevator pitch. We actually do something fun with it where you get to know people on a deeper level. And I've seen those connections happen, and it's really rewarding for me to see that. We usually ask some silly question like, what would your theme song be if you entered a room, and why, or, something like that. And people can connect and bond over that. And the conversations are so much fun when they happen. So I like seeing that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I talk to small business owners that are not marketing focused, they have a specialized expertise in, some technical aspect, information technology, human resources, whatever it is. Net marketing seems to be one of the weak areas of the organization, and one that individuals are a little shy or squeamish about. Oftentimes they say, I don't know where to go to market. I don't know how to do that. And my answer to that is, follow the marketers. Where do marketers go, and what do marketers do? And follow the marketers. And so considering the type of business that you have and that you own, and then what you're fostering through your affiliation with the Reston Chamber of Commerce and now NABO. It's, you know, that's where marketers go. There's a reason for that. And so if you want to grow your business, you gotta follow the flow.
You do. You also have to be mindful of where your ideal client is too. So not everybody's ideal clients are in chambers. I will tell you, I grew my business a lot at the Reston Chamber when I joined. And when I look back at where my business came from, it was instrumental. And, you know, even so, NABO has been great too. So you just have to figure out where your people are. Now, if you're looking at bigger businesses, that might be a harder thing to find. So you've got to really step back and look, well, where can I find those? Are they industry conferences? Are they somewhere else? So really, you know, anything you can do to figure out your ideal client and where they hang out online and go there is great. But I will say for most business people, chambers of commerce and something like NABO are helpful because just you, aside from making those connections, you have so much support with everything. And that's what I really love too, that I can, there is any question I have, I can get support. I need to redo my contract. I called one of my board members. I said, can you help me with this? And, you know, there's always somebody that I can ask for help and rely on, and they give me advice. And I love that about my special organization, NABO, and other organizations. They more so than networking, they allow you to grow your business and have people who can help you.
Sure, absolutely. I have one last question. No, I have two last questions.
I know. I told you I talk a lot.
No, this is good. This is good
off
information. This is perfect. This is exactly what the audience needs to hear. The audience that you know I talk to needs to hear this. I say it all the time, but it's great to hear it from someone else, and it's great to learn a little bit more about NABO in particular, and then you know why it's important to affiliate with specialized organizations. So I appreciate you. I really do. So my question is, and I lost track of that question. My question, what was my question? I'm just going to ask you, oh, I know what the question is. So we talked about Chamber of Commerce. We talked about NABO. We've spoken about the purpose of today is to talk about specialized, you know, membership with specialized organizations. Can you speak a little bit to why it's important to zone in on an organization such as NABO versus a Chamber of Commerce, which is also good as well, but what's the difference between the two, and how do you weigh those two options and then leverage a relationship?
So I'm biased, but I love networking with other women business owners, and I really, that's a market that I support. I always want to support other women business owners. So for me, that specialty of NABO being women, men are allowed in, but you know, varying levels of, we're mostly women, right? It's women business owners as voting members, et cetera. So that was attractive to me because I felt that the vibe was different than the chambers of commerce. You know, not to diss chambers because I love them, but I can't tell you how many times I was at a chamber meeting and I would have usually a guy come up and shake my hand and tell me what he did, give me his card, and then leave and not create that relationship. And I feel like, I think it's proven that women network differently when there's an absence of men. And so I just felt like I had better connections and relationships within an organization that was mostly women. So that's why I found it attractive. And I think that's going to vary for everybody. So with specialty organizations, find the one that speaks to you and then get involved in that one. And I, you know, the thing is, I also love being a big fish in a small pond. Not that NABO is small, but our local chapter is, you know, thousands of people, whereas NABO National is. So I feel like you can really make a difference by having an organization that's more of a specialty organization and be more visible. And so that's why I believe that they're important for us. So just, you know, find that thing that speaks to you and go and be involved in that one. And if you can really rise to a level where you can make a difference, that's so much more rewarding than just being a member. And that lasts longer than any business growth you have is being a part of something that's kind of beyond your business and beyond you. So, you know, I think that's why it's so important for me to do that. And
Sure.
Again, I don't know if that I really answered that question.
No, you did. Okay. You did. And specialty organizations come in different shapes, forms, and fashion, right? It's not just about gender, but it's also technically based. So you can have organizations that are geared towards information technology, contract management. There are very specific organizations, but I agree with you. It's all about what makes sense for you, what makes sense for your business, and then where can you capture, where are your customers, and where can you capture the attention of them by affiliating with those organizations. So
True. I think there was an organization that was local women in financial services, and I think they closed their local chapter, but I'd spoken to them about social media, and I thought that's a great one too, because it's typically a male-dominated industry. So they were, meeting to share best practices, and I love the idea of those specialty organizations. So you can't join all of them. Like I said, find the one that works for you, that makes you feel at home, and join that one and make a difference in it. Don't just join, be involved, be on committees, be on the board, whatever you can, but make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you. This is great, great, great information. Good conversation. I learned a little bit more about NABO as well. I think you and I spoke a couple of months ago, and I mentioned I'm a member of NABO, but I hadn't been for many years. But it's always been on my strategic roadmap. But I'm excited to be a part of the membership, and looking forward to diving deeper into
Yes,
my
we are glad you're
affiliation.
with us, and we have plans for you, Lisa.
I'm there. You can count me in.
Awesome.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, if we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show for today, but if you can share with everybody how they can learn a little bit more about you and Tira, right? Tira Strategies and Nabo as well.
Sure. NABO has a new website, nabodc.com, NAWBODC.com. So go there and you can learn all about us. Thanks to Web Substance who created the website. And I'm also getting a new website. So mine is old. TiraStrategies.com, TIRA strategies.com will be a new revamped website soon. Otherwise, I have can I say I have a Facebook group?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I have a free Facebook group called The Engaging Entrepreneur. It's where I spend most of my online time, where I give a lot of tips on using social media. So that's a great place to find me now until the website gets revamped. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, Lisa A. Nicholls, I think, on everything, or Lisa Ann Nicholls, something like that. So yeah, I'm easy to find. Nabo's easy to find, and love to make connections and answer any questions anybody has about social media, Snapchat. Should I be on TikTok? The answer is no. And about Nabo. So.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you joining me today. This was fantastic. And I'll be on the lookout for more information about the holiday party.
It's a murder mystery with an 80s theme. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. Yeah. Our events committee did a great job with it. So yeah, it'll be a blast.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And we will connect again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for paying attention and listening.
All right. Take care. All right. Well, as you can see, your network is your net worth, and affiliating with organizations, those who are specialized in focusing on, things that are critical and important to your business, to your customers, and to you is extremely important. And it helps to increase and elevate your business. It helps to foster exposure as well as growth for the business in general. So think about that right now, because now is a good time to think about joining certain organizations that can help foster growth and connections and advocacy, because, tax time is coming. And if you're going to affiliate with an organization, why not do it now and get ready for 2021? Put that into your strategy and get that ball moving. I want to thank you all for joining me today. We will be back next week here on Wednesday, November 25th, and we will have a special business roundtable, small business roundtable, where we will be discussing things that we are grateful for in this very specific season that we are experiencing here in 2020. I have 3 small business owners from 3 different industries who will be joining me to discuss their businesses, how those businesses have been impacted by COVID, how they made their pivots this year, and how this has turned out to be a blessing of growth for them. So I hope you will join me next Wednesday here at 4:30 p.m. And again, until next time, I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor and Virtual CFO with the Novel Transformation Solutions, your $1 million mentor. And we will see you again next week. Thank you for joining me.